Good day, all. Welcome to another edition of a Raw interview today with locallegislator.net, where our mission is to be the premier source of local election information in the United States and an advocate for the sustainability of local businesses nationwide. I am your host, Charles Gates. Welcome to our very first edition of this recorded live on Facebook. And our first guest today is none other than the incomparable owner of That's Your Business, Leona Davis Daniels. So welcome, Leona. How are you?
Thank you so much, Charles. I am absolutely wonderful. Thank you for asking, and thank you for your introduction. I
Thank
think,
you.
some have said different things, and I appreciate you having great ones to say.
Well, I'll tell you what, as much as you have done, I could have gone on and on and on, but we want to hear from you. And this is why we call these raw interviews, because we don't edit, we don't cut things out. We want to hear from you. So if we mess this interview up, let's just keep on rolling.
I know that's right.
So we're going to
That's
jump
right.
right into this. Now, what led you to getting into business?
Ultimately, one of the things that I think about in talking about my business, it's called That's Your Business, because I would help individuals out in, well, one, just hearing their ideas, thoughts and ideas about different things that they had as a particular passion. And then I find myself saying, that's your business, right? And then, well, what do you mean? And, just look, let me just do this thing. Ever since I was a small child, I have um, helped individuals with drafting paperwork, letters, and things of that nature. And when I say paperwork, I mean things like resumes. I was 14 years old writing resumes, for older siblings or family friends and things of that nature. I was writing love letters, for my sisters or whatever, because they were like, Leona, you read everything and you make sure you dot all your I's. You put a comma and a period where it's supposed, So yeah, that was from a small child, having a passion to read and being grammatically correct. So, those things followed me through the years. And then I would, get involved with individuals who just talking about the love of whatever it is that they wanted to do. And I would find myself doing these things at that time at no cost. And when I kept hearing myself say, that's your business, right? I said, you know what, let me make your business my business. So that's literally my slogan, my motto. So it's that your business, let me make your business my business. And in doing so, I really want to help individuals with entrepreneurship or finding, professional employment, for instance. I don't think that a person should have to sell themselves short and finding a job that doesn't necessarily pay them, and none of us thinks, this to be so, what they're actually worth. So basically the work has to be done on our part. And in doing so, I established that your business. And I know you've got some other questions in reference to that, because I could talk about that your business and then tell everything all at one time. But I'll let you go ahead and ask the additional questions so that we can continue to fill in
Okay, well, we do want to know more about your business. Now, we understand that you do provide three different services: business, employment, and office works. Can you give us a brief description of each of those three components?
the blanks. Definitely. And establishing that your business, I knew that there was a host of services that I was providing. So I broke them up so that individuals would get a clear understanding of all of what, once what I offered as well as what they would need. So yes, that your business has the three components: business services, employment services, and office works. Business services is a host of, whether it be, accounting needs that an individual has, because, and that's another question down the road, but I am a professor of accounting. See, this is why we have to edit sometimes.
Sorry.
However, I'm a professor of accounting. So there are accounting services, financial management and financial planning services, tax preparation services, and things of that nature. It's just a gamut of pretty much what, is a passion for me. So these are areas that, I put together. Employment services definitely helps. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back up again, because I've missed an important key part component of the business services. My business starter. Business Starter is, again, where that's your business comes into play. Business Starter helps an individual get started in their business or expand an existing business. And because for the most part, just talking to a person about the ideas, they didn't necessarily know how to put those things into action. And I would share the information, tell you any and everything that I know. I do not mind, telling you, because I'm not trying to get rich off of what I do. However, just in sharing that information, and when individuals hear how much, work is involved in establishing an entity of whatever sort, that, well, would you do it for me? So yeah, for a good little minute, I would do it, and I didn't necessarily charge people. And then it just made more sense to get paid for it, because it is an extensive amount of work that comes into play, especially with Business Starter. Business Starter, where you're helping individuals, contact the various local authorities with business licenses, permits, whatever the other fees are. Some people don't like talking to people. We've already established the fact that this is how I explain it. I don't know how to make a long story short. I just know how to make a long story longer. So I do a lot in conversation. And, people just appreciate that particular skill, that they would have opportunity to use, me to use rather, on their behalf. So again, the Business Starter is a very key component in reference to the business services. Employment services offers a host of whatever the employment needs are. One, as I forestated, I believe that we all should have a professional area of responsibility that we can claim as an occupation. And I don't even care if that's French fry flipper at McDonald's. That is, legitimate work. We're all working for our wages. So not necessarily to see it as a position on the end of a totem pole or whatever, but it's a stepping stone. It's an opportunity to move from one area of responsibility to another. Everything is a teaching moment. So but I do believe that particular French fry flipper should probably be no more than about 17, 18 years old. Then we need to move on to the next phase, of life that's going to garner a greater opportunity to increase your wages. So with that said, I'd like to be able to talk to individuals about the next step and offer, services that would get them that professional employment to make the wages, increase. So we offer the resume writing, the cover letters, helping individuals, understand how to summarize, certain things about themselves and, get that particular interview. The thank you letters is always, that's one area that a lot of people miss, but that is a very strong protocol in the interview process, that following up with that thank you letter. And one of the areas, I don't necessarily have the time to do it now, but I used to offer, and I still would, but I would have to hire somebody to do it for me. The employment search. Employment search is, you talk to me about the key areas of interest in reference to you, whether it be based on your education, your experience, just a desire to move into another career, altogether. But I would offer the services to literally search out, and there are a host of employment, Indeed, LinkedIn, all these different areas that have positions out there. But I would actually do an employment search for an individual to be able to find a more professional position. And everything is all about moving forward and advancing. And then Office Works. Office Works is that, trying to wrap it up, in reference to the host of administrative services that are out there on a daily basis, customer service and things of that nature. And Office Works, I'm a notary public, and I do a host of writing, whether it be a legal paper. One of the things I used to do growing up, and my younger sister still punishes me for it because I went into the military, was write book reports, essays, and things of that nature. I would write the whole thing out, but in the position that I'm in now, I don't necessarily do it that way, but I do offer strong topics of information and give ideas of resources so that an individual would have that available to them to write their own strong book report. Otherwise, that thing is called something else, like plagiarism. However, Office Works hosts, I have a host of administrative services that I will make available to individuals as needed. So whether it be letter writing, I get into graphics. I love, things of color and artistic, creations. So I do programs, brochures, posters. I like to personalize things. I like to bring, an individual's idea and customize it, put it on paper and bring it alive. So, when I do business cards and individual business stationery, I like to do that based on that, what that individual's thoughts are. For instance, my resumes, I created a customized design. I do create, I've got templates, but I tweak them for every individual. So it's a customized document, specific to an individual's liking. Mine, for instance, I'm just a really strong, I don't want to say proponent, but I have a love for the color purple. And I'm not going to say like purple's my favorite color because everything's not purple, but I just love the way that color, you know, um, represents itself on a strong white, a bright white document. And I'm giving out some of my secrets, but I'm telling people basically, when you have, like a resume on bright white paper and bright colors, that jumps out at an individual before they even read your name. So, I put all these different things together and, share that information with my clients so that I can ensure them or assure them that they are definitely getting the best of everything that I have to offer. And it's not me forcing my own likes, and desires. I'm literally taking from them information that they provide and putting their own, you know, desires on paper. And then they get to see it come alive.
Wow.
I know it's a
Okay.
lot, right?
That was more than I expected. However, now speaking of clients, who is your target client and how do you market to them?
I deal with life from a humane and a spiritual perspective. So ultimately, I have clients as young as 16 and as old as 75. And any and every way that I can enhance, whatever the individual desires are, I just want to do so. It's more of a passion. It's more, work towards that's based on compassion. So I know, business in and of itself is very structured and organized, and it's thought that if you have a particular item, then it's going to be for this particular audience, and some will like it and some don't necessarily like it. That's why I focus on doing things from a customized perspective, because I don't have a product that I'm trying to sell an individual. My clients are that product for the most part, and they have the information. It's just a matter of me pulling out of them an individual, thought, desire, whatever their perspectives are. Is not my voice, it's their voice. So if it's a letter, it's a letter that you hear speaking on your behalf. It's your own voice. So from that, with that said, my client base is as young as I can see an 8 or 9 year old. If you want to write a little love letter to a little boy, little girl, trust and believe. I wouldn't necessarily charge them because what do they make, like $5? $5 a week is an allowance. But, literally, and from a serious perspective, there are no age ranges to the work that I do, because I'm just here to meet the need of the individual who has the desire.
Hmm. Now you are also, I didn't know you were military so thank you for your
Yes,
service. I didn't know
I
that
thank
was
you.
another caveat that you do. I also understand that you are a professor at St. Leo's University. Now, from a
Correct.
business perspective, what do you teach and how does that affect your business, if at all?
Definitely. I actually am, a professor of accounting. Okay. I'm a lot of somethings, but I spent 11 years in the United States Army, and that was a very, I don't know, it was a challenge of an experience that I appreciate and hold dear to my life. That was definitely something. I mean, I don't just sell. Uncle Sam or, the military in and of itself, but the concepts of what an individual could learn and take onto life, as a whole moving forward, that's definitely something that I would suggest be a part of all men. Oh, I'm sorry, my phone's ringing. Is there a pause? I'm
No.
sorry.
Listening audience, this is the joy of doing live on Facebook. When your phone rings, you just have to answer it or ignore it.
Look, I chose ignore. However, look, the phone or a kid or an animal. Yeah, that's the life we live in right now because everything is being exposed behind the doors. So
Oh.
we had opportunity to separate from 8 to 5. Now everything is all in your house. They know everything is going on. You got to find a little corner that you keep clean in order to show the rest of the world. However, yes, I just definitely wanted to stress that, the military service was a positive, one of the most strenuous positives that I could express from my life. And yes, as an accounting professor, and I've been with St. Leo for a good number of years, the business, that just, it grew. I have dual bachelor's degrees in business administration, one with a specialization in management and the other with a specialization in accounting. So for the bulk of my career, I sort of split myself, in both of those areas. It works well with the jobs that I've had because I've worked in a number of industries. So, when it came time to really, well, I was asked to teach and I needed to decide, where was my primary focus. And I had so many individuals, I began to tutor, individuals in accounting. And I had so many individuals who were just like completely intimidated by the thought of, having to do something with these numbers. And everybody always says, I hate math. Well, it's not necessarily math, but it's, they're principles and concepts. So I decided to go back to school, get a master's so that I could teach accounting and help people understand how in our everyday lives we use accounting. So, it was just another add, to the business services that I'd already put in place and begin to provide for individuals.
Interesting. Speaking of this environment, COVID-19, the pandemic, coronavirus, this theater that we're all a witness of right now. How is this affecting your business, especially from a tax preparer's standpoint? And I ask that reason because I too, for all of you out there, I too am a client of Leona's, and she is my tax preparer. How is the COVID-19 pandemic affecting your business, especially when it comes to those type of services?
Well, for the most part, those of us who are in customer service and things of that nature, and we're depending on someone else to need our services, things have slowed down quite a bit. Again, I don't do it to, become rich or whatever the case may be, but, it is something that I enjoy. So I like to be able to help individuals. So for me, dealing with COVID-19, it's been more of a struggle and seeing so many others struggle, because if it is a hardship, for someone not necessarily needing my services, then that would just mean that there's more of a hardship rather for that individual who can't afford it, So this particular era is something that I would pray, and I definitely do want to pray for the lives of all, of us who are enduring this, well, and I mean worldwide, definitely, because, I don't necessarily agree with decisions, that are being made or the lack thereof when it comes to a life. You can't put a value on it. So it just saddens me to no end to know that we're already in a position in the United States of America of having to deal with the loss of 150,000 people in a matter of 5 months. And there not be more done, to help individuals in their individual, whether it be, well, I'm looking at these legislative meetings, excuse me, and things of that nature. And there's so much argument about how much money. Well, I am, look, can I go on a tangent for a minute? I'm a proponent of giving these folks $600 a week. People have got to live, and I mean, it's just sad that, there's more of a concern that, people are making more money being unemployed than they made when they were employed. And that's going to be an incentive that they not become employed. Well, the money's not going to last always. And I know that we don't have, if you're not willing to support the individuals now, you're definitely not going to support them when the money runs out. So I would hope that individuals know the importance of, what it means to go back to work. And again, that's how my business will get back in business, because my employment services will help you find that next professional job. However, with COVID-19, this is definitely a beast that, is something that I would have never thought I would witness in my lifetime, not to this extent. We've had other diseases and things of that nature, but this is just something that's completely out of control. You hear often that we don't know what we don't know, and we just don't know. So I'm not willing to take a chance with an individual's life, which is precious. We've lost, so many people. My family had just found out on Facebook, that a family friend had passed away. And in the beginning of at the time that she passed away, it was like early March, where it wasn't really given a whole lot of attention. So they didn't even really know that she was suffering from COVID-19 and that she had ultimately passed. And she was in her early 50s. She's much younger than I am, but her parents knew my parents before I was even in existence. So I mean, it was a long-standing family friendship where, the ones that you've known for so long, they just become a cousin, So it's just not, it's not a good place for us to be in. So the, the way that, or I should say the effects that we've had where COVID-19 has come into play, from a business perspective, I don't necessarily miss the money. I miss more, the people, and a whole lot of them I don't even know. But as far as the tax situation is concerned, one thing I would like to say about that and bringing truth to what I've heard with some other clients in reference to the $1,200 stimulus check, for instance, from a tax preparer's perspective. There was a video that one of my clients sent to me, some gentleman, and it's all this hate speech and just disinformation and whatnot that's out there. And unfortunately, we have individuals who don't necessarily know when a lie is a lie, when somebody's just spewing something just to deceive them. But this individual in his video, had indicated that the $1,200 stimulus was going to be a dollar amount that every individual would owe back to the government when you go to file your 2020 income taxes. And that is an absolute untruth. The bill that was put in place in reference to that stimulus check indicates that that is a tax credit. And a tax credit is it's a financial incentive that's provided to individual constituents. That's, I don't want to call it like free money, but it's a financial incentive from the government to the individual taxpayer. So it's not any money that anybody is going to owe as a tax bill right off the bat. Basically, it's going to be a question on your 2020 income tax return, and it's going to ask if you got a certain dollar amount of money. You'll answer that question, you'll put in that dollar amount, and then if you got more than what you were supposed to get based on your income, the income that was reported or what they had to go by during the time that they were doing this. And Uncle Sam is, IRS, everybody's stressed out. But the information that they had, it'll determine if you received $1,200 and they, you made more of an income than what you had indicated. So you probably shouldn't have gotten that full amount. Uncle Sam's not going to take it back. They're not going to take it back. It's maxed out at $1,200. If you made less of an income, therefore you should have gotten maybe a little more than the standard of $1,200. In your 2020 income tax return, you'll get a credit for the difference. Means you'll get a little bit more money back in your income tax return as the difference. So it's not anything that anybody is going to owe back to the government. That is simply untrue.
Hmm.
It is a tax credit. You're maxed out at 12, 17, 24, whichever dollar amount you got. You're maxed out at that dollar amount, and they're not coming after you to get the balance if you owe more or if you shouldn't have gotten as much. That's not going to happen. But you will get the difference if you did not get as much as what was due. Or right now, there's still stimulus checks that hadn't even been paid to people. So that's another opportunity during your 2020 income tax return where you might actually get that full $1,200. Let's hope that Uncle Sam, because when people need the money, they need the money. They don't need it down the road,
Right.
when things have gotten back to a halfway normal, if we can say normal um, process. But ultimately, that one stimulus, that opportunity to have that stimulus paid is going to be zeroed out. It'll be paid whether now, in the next few months, or in 2020. Somewhere along the line, that tax credit will be allowed.
Wow, that was a lot of information that
No,
I know I didn't know, and I would imagine our listeners didn't know either. So thank you for that plethora of information. Leona,
yeah,
two more questions for you. From an
yes, sir.
entrepreneurial perspective, what advice would you give a person that's just starting out, thinking about perhaps starting their own business? What golden nuggets would you give them starting out?
For the most part, one of the main things that I would say is to make sure that you have the proper capital in place to sustain your business, one, from a long-term perspective. So you want to make sure you have a clear understanding of what the concept is. If you want to offer a product or something, or a service, you want to make sure that you are financially in a position to do so. They say they call our rainy day fund something 6 to 8 months of, to be able to take care of your household just in case something happens or whatever the case may be. A business, you might want to have a little bit more of a cushion of a rainy day fund, but you definitely want to make sure that you are in a good financial position. Um, Sadly enough, dealing again with this COVID-19, we have so many small businesses who were told to close their business because the country needed to shut down. And ultimately, after 3 and 4 months, they are not able to sustain. I would hear news report after news report after news report when there was a stronger need for the government to help out with the financial aspect of an individual business. And some of these businesses only had like 2 weeks that they could pay payroll. And 2 weeks after that 2 week just meant, one, you weren't going to be able to pay your employees. Two, if you don't have employees, you can't, generate any additional revenue. So, that financial piece is a very strong component. And then secondly, I would suggest that you definitely do your research, and making sure that whatever the business is, it's something that you can you can be sure that there's an ongoing concern. Ongoing concern means that your business is going to be in existence from one year to the next. So you want to be able to project out, from the next year, uh, just to be certain that it's not anything that'll just be a passing thought. You want to be able to have that longevity. And then lastly, you want to have strong individuals in your corner. You want to have, professionals who can give you the sound advice so that you can make the most informed decisions. And you want to have strong individuals who believe in your vision. If you want to have employees, you want to have strong individuals who believe in your vision in order to make sure that uh, you're as successful rather as you could possibly be. And one of the things that I definitely believe in the individuals that I work with, um, my success is your success. And if we do it all collectively with that one focus, that one vision, that one mission, then the ongoing concern won't necessarily be a concern because everybody will have the same mindset set and making sure that it remains.
Well, thank you so much, Leona, for that. Again, for all of that information. I'm sure our listeners are going to be taking many notes. This is recorded and will be posted to all our social media platforms as well as our website. But I do have one last question for you.
Yes, sir.
You are a walking encyclopedia for knowledge, for business knowledge.
Bless you.
How do people get in touch with you? If they wanted to reach out to Leona Davis Daniels, how would they do that?
I That's your business is well, you can Google search that's your business and get all my information. God bless. I had a longtime friend. Literally, when she called me, she said, "I found you on Google." I was like, "Well, I'm glad, but that's a little scary at the same time." But definitely, Leona Davis Daniels. That's your business. My email is Leona Davis 816 at yahoo.com. And you can take my cell number, 757-817-6907. Feel free to contact me at any time.
Thank you again, Leona Davis Daniels, for such a wonderful interview. Usually, we try to make these interviews a bit shorter, but you were just so full of information. I said, let's just go for it and let the people decide what they want to decipher based on what you've said. Thank you again,
Definitely,
and best of luck to you with all your endeavors. And for all our
definitely.
listeners out there, if you want to get in touch with Leona Davis Daniels, she's right here. She gave you the information. Reach out to her. She even put a cell phone number out there. So get in touch with her as soon as you can. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Charles Gates from locallegislator.net, where our mission is to be the premier source of local election information in the United States and an advocate for the sustainability of local businesses nationwide. If you are a locally elected official or local business owner, community leader, and or nonprofit heads in the Hampton Roads or Richmond areas of Virginia, and would like one of these raw interviews, reach out to us. You can get in touch with us on our Facebook page, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. We're on all of the social media platforms. And again, you can also go to our website to send us a comment. Let us know you want to do one of these interviews or reach out to me directly. A lot of you listeners have my information. Let me know what you want, and we will make it happen. Again, and our slogan is we want you to remember that we're not global, we're local. Locallegislator.net. Take care, guys. And again, we will be doing this every day, every Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock a.m., Facebook Live. Some are going to go short, some will go long. You want to find out what's happening in your community? Check us out. Until tomorrow, take care of yourself and have a wonderful day. And thank you again, Leona. Bye.
Certainly. Bye bye.